Good afternoon and welcome to Djuma Game Reserve this afternoon. A very special afternoon for some people, and for us here at Djuma Game Reserve it's special because it's a fun day. It's a lovely day, it's a sunny day, we're in spring. There are amazing things happening out in the bush, and some of those we're going to go and have a look at right now for the next 3 hours. And my name is Mark, and Seb is behind the camera, Tara is in final control, and the three of us are going to try and entertain you for the next 3 hours and see what we can find that is spring related. We'll do a spring related drive this afternoon, I think. And I think it's appropriate because there's an event that's happening in Canada and the US that is autumn related, and it shows the stark contrast between the two hemispheres of our planet, and how different things are. Where you've got beautiful colors because you've got leaves fading, and of course it's not only North America, it's Europe and everywhere else up in the northern hemisphere. But you've got colors changing because everything is sort of fading back into winter, and we've got colors changing because everything is bursting with life coming into summer from a dry season. And what is interesting is that a lot of what is happening without having any rains, decent rains. We've had a bit of rain, but that hasn't influenced everything now. But we're going to have a look at some of that this afternoon, so I hope you're going to join us. We're going to see what animals we can find. Hopefully we can find you some really wonderful African creatures. And join us. I was having a look at tracks. Now we're close to an area where the Karula is a very special leopard. She's got 2 youngsters, and they weren't far from us. They were just up to our left, which is sort of west of us, this morning. We didn't get to see Karula. Evidently she was with them, but she left and she obviously went off hunting. And they were left somewhere nearby, so we're going to scratch around, as we call it, and see if we can find them or see if we can find any sign of them. But actually there were some tracks of a big male leopard that have a lot of vehicle tracks on top of them. So there was also a male leopard here. And, well, we did see Yambilu Yordan, so they were probably his tracks. Come to think of it, I'm just going to move so that we can see those tracks, because I drew a circle around them. And I've measured Induna's tracks before, so I just thought maybe it's a good idea. Let's measure those tracks and see how they compare. As a male leopard, this is why I think it's Yordan, Yambilu Yordan. Just going to take the radio with me just in case. No, actually you can't see them from there. Them better from but here for now it's just they're not that distinct. He wasn't walking slowly, and that's why the measurement, the length of the tracks might be distorted a little bit, because it's soft sand. This was a cat that his feet weren't being placed one inside the other as if he was walking slowly. Where is it? There we go. Those are both front left and right, and they're about, I think, just over 11 centimeters, and I think Induna's was 9.5 if I'm not mistaken. Pity there aren't many more tracks to actually have a look. And I didn't see any of his back feet. Those are his 2 front feet that we were looking at. Maybe somebody can remember the length of Induna's. Yeah, I measured. I got 9.5 the last time. Hey, take. I'm going 9. And I want on but that's probably from your down yesterday. Because there's too many cars on top of it. Yeah. But that's the father.
Oh, because Ryan said he left him somewhere.
I know where he left him.
Did you check?
Just, yeah, it's just, if you take Vuya's access, I'll take power line. And it's the first, but they would have been in the first sort of 50 meters.
Along the power line?
Between power line and Vuya's access.
So, must I go on power line? Or?
You tell me, you're in front of me, where are you going?
I will reverse it because
Okay, Texan is joining us, and we're going to try and find you, or we're going to try and find for everyone, guests as well, possible. Yeah, Tex, are you there? Not yet, but when we left them, they were coming out onto power line here, just in front of me, on the edge of the tree line, on the edge of the open area. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. More or less where the tree line starts from the open area where I am now. Both Texan and I are here. Where are you? Okay, maybe if you want to try Vuya's access, because they were heading more that way. I haven't. Well, Ephraim dragged it, so we won't see tracks.
So you're not able to drive, you left it?
No, I didn't see her. She was gone when I got there. It was just a nothing one.
Yeah, I think she left him put on the west.
I left Ryan with them and they were headed this way where I am now, onto either these termite mounds or somewhere in the shade, unless they went across Vuya's exit. But Tex, when I left Ryan, they hadn't crossed power line yet, but they were just up here at this Maru. They were coming this way. So I don't know, we have to wait or find out from Ryan whether they crossed power line or he left them on the power line. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I've been missing a lot because there's been a lot of communication on the radio and with the guards about the two cubs. Karula moved off to the west. I think she went hunting, and they were left heading this way. So it's been a hot day. I don't know how far they would have gone from where she left them. The young female has been known to go very, very far. Yeah, several hundred meters away from where they are left by Karula. And
Are you taking?
excuse me a sec.
And yourself? Good fix. And did you told her that young Madodangala or not?
But the interesting thing was that after Karula left, and the young female, who's normally very bold, wouldn't go anywhere. She was actually following him. I think it was more than the other way around. Actually, we left them just going through this forest here. From that termite mound. And our tracks went out that way and then onto the power line, and this tracks here, this is where Ryan was following them. So there's one day in the, I was talking about spring and autumn and all of that earlier, and there's one day in the year in North America that actually marks it. And there was an elephant at the dam. I heard there was an elephant on the dam wall. Tara said in my ear. I just didn't register it then because I was talking to Texan and the guys. Anyways, the day of the year they decided to call it Labor Day, but it was, I think it's just because it's really the last summer long weekend of the year, because everybody goes back to school and it's that last chance for everybody to have that summer holiday weekend. They called it Labor Day and they blamed it on the unions. Although it did have a lot to do with the unions, it had a lot to do with working an 8-hour day, and I think in the beginning a 56-hour week. It would have been 7 days a week. But anyways, I found out something very interesting today, that it is actually Canada that started Labor Day and not the United States of America. And it was actually, for the US, it was joining in with Canada, but it was also a bit of a snub to most other parts of the world that celebrate the 1st of May as Workers' Day, which is what we do. We'll create our own Workers' Day, because May Day for us is also, it's the end of our summer, it's kind of that first day of when autumn is coming. A very similar concept. Happy Labor Day. Hope you're all having family weekends. Well, I know some aren't, and for those of you who aren't, you're with us. This is your other family, the Wild Earth family. There's a very nice thick guarri tree just up ahead of us. We're going to investigate that. Yeah, I think so. While we're looking at, I'm not going to spend too much time looking. This road was dragged today by the tires just to keep the road smooth, and so if there were any tracks, you might see them on the edge. I'm just thinking of the cubs that were making their way this way, and I'm looking for termite mounds and I'm looking for dense shade. It's been a hot day. I'm going to check one area of dense shade, and that's this big guarri bush just off of our left here. And if there's nothing underneath this in the shade, then we'll go down and look for those elephants. But I heard Graham say they've all moved into the drainage line. Okay, off we go. Let's go and do a game drive. We're not going to drive around this time of the day looking for leopards that are sleeping. If they popped up their heads while we were looking, it would have been great. And we've all been looking in the same general area. It's hard to find them if you don't have any clues. Jason, come in. Yeah, I'm not finding anything this side. I'm moving on. So, question was from, will come to me, but with Mozambique and Zimbabwe opening up their borders and the creation of parks, what we call trans-frontier parks on the other sides, of course, Jill, yeah. Thanks, Tara. Sorry, Jill. Are we seeing any difference in the animals? Are we seeing any animals that are now coming in that haven't occurred here? And funny enough, yes, there are minor differences. There are definitely a lot more elephants than there have been in the past. And that's got a lot to do with a number of factors. One of them being the fact that elephants have become a lot more relaxed over the last 10 years than they had 10 years for the 10 years prior to that. And a lot of that has got to do with the elephant management of the Kruger National Park and how they've managed the population. And it's been a lot more passive in the last 10 years than it had been, actually the last 20 even, 15 to 20, than it had been in the previous 15 to 20. And that has caused a lot of a confidence build up in the elephant populations in the behavior of us humans. Now, 20 years ago we didn't get as many breeding herds coming through, family groups, breeding herd. There wasn't that much movement. They would have had to have broken a relative or come through a fence on the western edge of Kruger that divided Kruger and the Sabi Sand. That came down in 1992. Oops. Coqui Franklin. Female Coqui Franklin. If anyone's new here, you'll know that I can get interrupted in mid-sentence by an animal or a bird or a flower or a tree or anything and forget my line of thought completely. There's the male. We saw the female, now here's the male with the golden head. And normally in pairs, they're very seldom on their own. Must have known he was on camera. There we go. I shouldn't have told you what it was. I should have asked you to tell me.
No.
Yes?
Did you lose the cubs between the power line and the main access road?
When I left Ryan, they hadn't crossed power line yet. They were heading towards power line.
7 flat.
Yeah, fam. Heading more or less north towards power line, probably 10, 20 yards away. Maybe 50 meters from the junction with Vuyatela access. So that fence came down, and I would say that perhaps had more impact on the Sabi Sand than we would notice since the border was open, or the boundary was open to Mozambique. I don't know how it works with the Zimbabwe on the Zimbabwean side, but obviously to the far east of the Kruger Park, on the eastern boundary of the Kruger National Park, there will be things that might be noticed there, more in terms of animals spreading out from here into Mozambique rather than anything from Mozambique coming into South Africa. And that is because of the level of poaching and, well, the lack of conservation and the lack of manpower, the lack of resources to be able to engage in conservation management. So if anything, there's been maybe a little bit of movement outside the park, but animals I think are still a little bit wary. There are still villages and there's still settlements to the east of the Kruger National Park, although they now fall within the Transfrontier Park, and some animals are perhaps reluctant to move into those areas. I know elephant, for example, don't really travel that far into Mozambique yet, and that is largely because there were once many landmines left after the Civil War, and it caused havoc with animal populations, apart from the, well, just the decimation of the wildlife during the Civil War in Mozambique. But on a different scale, having had the Sabi Sand open up to the Kruger National Park, and having been here for a number of years in the late 80s, and again in... Sorry, heard something. Yeah, our guinea fowl are going crazy. Just trying to figure out where it is. Yeah. I always rely on Seb, because his directional hearing is better than mine. And I can make excuses because I got an earpiece in my ear. Okay. Are they in trees or are they on the ground? I'm not going to cross the open area, we're just going to drive around and go and see. I can hear them now, they're quite frantic. Whoa. Definitely a predator that's threatening the guinea fowl. I'm seeing an eagle. So, I think I was on quite different to the Kruger Park opening its boundary to Mozambique. There's been a more visible impact on the Kruger Park opening its boundaries to the Sabi Sand on the western side of Kruger, because of the level of conservation that has taken place here in the Sabi Sand over the last 60 years, and how well it has been managed. Needing the boundary to be open, so that also for one point of view that populations from here can get into Kruger, but also that things like elephant and rhino and buffalo can then traverse much larger areas. And we've had black rhino come through the Sabi Sand, and that probably would never have happened with the Kruger fence. The brown hyena incident that we had 2 years ago, that's debatable. It's quite possible that the brown hyena, because they climb through fences anyway, quite possible that they could have just been, that one could have just been a vagrant because he was just wandering, who knows, could have even come from Botswana, hundreds of miles away. That's how far they can travel. They just walk. Got nothing better to do in their lives than just walk and look for things to eat. Another brown hyena. Hello mongoose, come and see you now. Well, guinea fowl are not in trees. Can you hear them still? Can you still hear them?
Yeah.
Still towards the dam? Okay, well then we just here, and on the ground. Yeah, let's listen again. Triangulate with sound. Towards Ingeskaya?
No, not to the right.
Okay. These guinea fowl aren't even perplexed. But it has also probably allowed more flow of traffic of wildebeest and zebra and giraffe. I mean, there were good populations of all these animals. prior to the fences dropping. The fence wasn't exactly that much of a fence. I mean, it wasn't a game fence like we have on the western edge of the Sabi Sand, which is a proper regulation game fence, which is about, it's like a 17 strand electrified. Well, not every strand is electrified. Basically, it's 17 strands. They're very narrow strands, or a Bonox box fencing. I can't remember which one they're using now because they've been replacing. But there are normally 3, if not 4 bands of electrified wire. And if anything, all it is it's to protect the animals more than anything else, because if they get out, they will be destroyed. Somebody will make an excuse that it is becoming a threat to society through more guinea fowl. Were they the ones? Okay, so there might have been something here, but they weren't in trees, so it's not a ground predator. We should have been here when they were shouting, that's the thing. Yeah, and they're out in the open. So it was possibly a snake, if anything. Nice warm afternoon. It's guinea fowl, you can't really tell by their call what they're shouting at. You can tell by their behavior. If they're hiding under thick bush, you know it's an aerial predator, you know it's an eagle. Kind of like under this here. If there were guinea fowl shouting under these thorn bushes over here on the right, that's perfect hiding place. And they'll sit under there and they'll scream blue murder. And you look up and you'll probably find an eagle, the likes of a returning Wahlberg's eagle or a tawny eagle or a gymnogene. Okay, sorry. There are questions coming in and I'm babbling. But that was a good question. And yes, there are minor differences. Well, interesting. We've now got a squirrel that is quite frantic. He's really trying to attract the attention of other squirrels. So there might be a cat moving around here. He's looking off into the bush to the right. Move forward a bit. Hello, Hanley. Oh, there you go. Those are the ellies that I'm coming to look for. Seb's just saying he saw the elephant that we're looking for now on the left. And quite appropriate because Hanley's just talking about elephant. What are you seeing, young squirrel? He's seeing something through there. Yeah, I'm looking. Show me.
So it's really not happy.
No, there's something there that is... He who shouts longest and loudest is least likely to be caught. That's the law of... And now you're looking at me. What? What's gone under the car? It's a snake.
Did you have a leopard under the car?
And it's just so insistent that there's something moving here in the bush that is such a threat to this is the squirrel society, the world of squirrel. Hanley was asking a question, watching Tembe Elephant Cam, and I'd love to have seen some of that behavior. I'm not quite sure what it is that you were watching, and so it's very difficult for me to comment. on what you're asking, Hanley. I need to see the same behavior to comment on it. But Hanley was saying that the males were posturing and there were females, but males weren't in must, but they were still posturing in terms of, well, it sounds like that they wanted to mate, and would they mate if they weren't in must? From what I've seen of Tembi Cam, and I don't know Tembi very well, but from what I've seen, I would guess that maybe the posturing was more about access to the water, because it's pretty dry around the waterhole. I don't even want to well, it is kind of like I don't want to comment, because I don't want to say something based on a description. I want to see the behavior to be able to comment on it. I'm not an expert. I've just been with elephants for many years, and I've watched them a lot, and I keep learning new things about elephants. So it might be something that they're doing that I don't even know about. Unfortunately, very hard for me to comment on elephant behavior. There they are. I'm going to try and approach them from the left, or rather from the west. And our two wildebeest bulls making their way to water. Whoever's zooming today, who's the zoomy today? Some of the impala that the wildebeest hang out with here as well. Nobody seems to be minding very much that a squirrel was screaming its heart out, and so were the guinea fowl. Hello, Mr. Wildy. This, I'm sure, I think this is our Wally Waldo Willie wildebeest, and the other one's the newcomer. And I think it's a younger male because, well, two bulls just hanging out together. Excuse me a sec. Cody's in Lova now, just west of, or rather just east of Inga's Kaya. Having a nice roll in the dust. Last station, go again.
Trying to call up,
So, go back on my lorries. Was it New Jersey? A very wet New Jersey. Hang on. Ask the question. And then I was listening to the radio and my brain was on that. I'm sure this is going to be seen on the Juma waterhole cam, but look, these wildebeest, just show you, wildebeest don't generally drink for very long. They have a quick drink and they move on. It's just we don't get to see this very often. so often we spend time with animals, but the amount of time we actually get to see them coming down to the water is because we're always following them or watching them graze. Another herd of elephant that were at Twin Dams. Look at that. In like a few seconds, slaked his thirst, and it's time to go back and eat again. Eat grass. That's wildebeest for you. That's why it's unusual to see them drinking, because it takes so long to quench a thirst. If you're not there with them, you miss it. If you blink, you miss it. Yeah, he looks like Waldo Willie. He's darker than this other one. This other one's a youngster. A younger Wildy. Unusual that they're both here, and I'm sure that... No, actually I'm wrong. This is Wallow Wild. Look at that scar on his thigh. I'm sure he was the one that had the scar on his thigh. Somebody will get back to me and say, yeah, that was the one that's been here all along. So that means there's a bigger male that's moved in. And Waldo Willie's just reluctant to give up his territory. Because he can't be Billy No Friends anymore. He's got a friend. Bye, boys. Let's go and visit an elephant. But New Jersey, drying up after Hurricane Irene. Happy Labor Day in New Jersey. And Timmy and Patty and everybody else. Oh, Nina and Dan at Hippo Creek. Special Happy Labor Day to you too. Can you feel the ground move when elephants stamp? No, you can't. But we had a question the other day about elephant being able to hear with their feet. And to some degree they do feel vibrations with their feet. And they communicate that way sometimes. I believe. I have never noticed, I've never seen elephants stamping their feet. Maybe what it is when they're digging and they're kicking at roots and things. I don't know. No, I've been around elephant, and I've been around lots of elephants, and I've been around elephant when they're running. I've never felt the ground move or vibrate the way you see it in the movies. Jumanji, I think it was, but also the museum movie. I mean, even Jurassic Park with the dinosaur. Even if it was a herd of T-Rexes, I don't think the ground would vibrate. Not unless it was a swamp and there was water involved that could transfer those waves. Hello, Mrs. Ellis. Can I join you? Please. A very nice example of the variation in tusk size that you get. Sorry, I think I might have just got a little too close. She moved a bit, but she stopped as soon as I stopped. Hi, Gilly, Jean. Interesting that you mentioned that, because I've done that a lot myself, but I haven't really had rodents come to me. But she was saying, because I do that a lot. Hello, little Lily. You're gonna come and say hello, or you're just gonna shake your head at me? But Gilly was saying that with squirrels and that when they're alarming like that, to mimic them with your hand, and I actually do that a lot, especially when I'm home, and I'd make the same sound as them. They don't come to me, but they acknowledge me. And sometimes, just to let a squirrel know that I'm around, I'll start flicking my hand like they would flick their tails, so just to draw attention to themselves without having to vocalize. That's mostly just because I don't want them to suddenly see I'm there and get a really good fright, so I let them know I'm around. It's when I'm sitting at home and I'm doing stuff and they're coming and they're sniffing around. Well, it's also to keep them out of my kitchen. While I'm talking, I'm trying to get a thorn out of my foot. Hello, Sarah. Was that Geronimo? Yeah, Geronimo. I think I did say the name Geronimo once as well. But at first I thought it was the first one, the bigger one, because our Geronimo, who has been alternatively named Wally, Waldo, Billy No Friends, for those in the UK, that it means something. It didn't mean anything to me, but Becky knew what it meant. Tara, do you know what it means? Billy No Friends. Yep, why am I not surprised? Becky was sat at the camera and said so. That's in true Northern British speak. The problem is that when the second wildebeest came past us, there's a scratch on his thigh, and I kind of remember that being part of our Geronimo, Billy, Wally, Waldo, Willie, the man of many names. But I was saying earlier, Seb's just been showing you the tusks of that elephant, and I was saying earlier how she's a very good example of being it's that female behind, I think, that I was talking about. Let's see if we can move a bit. It's got a little thorn in the ball of my foot, and when I put my foot on the clutch, it pushes the thorn deep into my foot. Just using another thorn to dig it out. The joys of feeling Mother Nature's energy under your feet. I think I was talking about that female at the back there, but she had a very small pair of tusks, and it just goes to show that age doesn't have much to do with tusk size. I've seen youngsters half her age with bigger tusks, twice the size. But this is a young bull that we're sitting with now, playing coy behind the bush willow. Even that big female that we're looking at now, this one here, she's also got relatively small tusks. She's also, look at that, not quite symmetrical, one pointing down, one pointing forward. She should be recognizable. Hello, Patty. Still in New Jersey. Hello, Patty. Have we heard anything about Mishu, maybe from one of the other guides? Well, I've noticed that there's actually a website now. What's it? Bring Mishu home or something. And not so much in a physical sense to bring him home, but more in a sense of let's find him. And I don't know who made that website. It's a Facebook page. But hoping to advertise his picture so that if guides from other areas are looking for the identity of a leopard that they don't know, might see him and might... You're not going to get routes that way. But hoping that we can have some guides somewhere who might see him and say, ah, that's the new leopard we're looking at. So far, I don't think anybody's really recognized him anywhere else. But I haven't heard anything, Paddy. I'm just hoping that he's found himself a nice spot. It's a matter of really other guys not knowing who he is. And I'm sure that he's pitched up somewhere. If we look at someone like Mvula, who came all the way from Lion Sands, which is the length of the Sabi Sands, and settled here in the northern Sabi Sand when he was born in the southern Sabi Sands, it's not impossible to think that Mishu is now deep in the Kruger Park, away from a road where not even tourists are going to see him, because the area that's east of us in the Kruger National Park is actually quite vast, and there's only really one road that I think it's a north-south road that runs anywhere near it. And well, your general tourists who go through Kruger are not going to know about Mishu, or even think to look on Facebook, or even want to identify the leopard. They're just going to see a leopard. There's the matriarch. She's just sniffing us. The wind's blowing in her direction. She's going to push this. Look, she's pushing him away. Those tusks, they're quite strange. She's coming to see what he's doing. She heard that break of that tree, and she's taking advantage of her position as probably matriarch. She's definitely bigger than the other cow, and pushing this little boy away and saying, okay, you did some of that work, now I'm coming to dig for the roots. You come and talk to me, little boy. Comes to I. And he'll pretend to feed as he makes his way closer. Graham finally found one of the youngsters. Probably where we were, and finally, because it's getting cooler, climbed up on top of a termite mound. One of the children. Interesting question from Mary Jane in Florida. If an elephant is relocated from another area into an area, would a local I don't know if it would be a he or a she. It's an interesting question because I see where it's coming from. Would it be accepted by local herds? Well, yes. I guess the quick answer would be yes. The long answer would be it depends. Hello, boys. The thing is that elephants are not territorial. Hello. So there's not likely to be a territorial dispute. Elephant society, on the other hand, kind of promotes passive socialism. Aggression is not really something that elephants are fond of. And so a strange elephant that comes out of nowhere is likely to be seen as a newcomer, a stranger, and be greeted, maybe ignored. It's very difficult to say how other elephants will behave because it's very much like our society. You're a stranger and you move into a new community. Then what's the different factors? Hello. You're going to come and say hello? It's a young male. He's just going through puberty. He's got a little bit of a leak from his temporal gland. Maybe not so much must as much as maybe a little bit henpecked by the fear. He shouldn't be with them. Well, maybe in the next few years he's going to gradually move away from the herd. But because elephants are not territorial, they don't have these disputes over territory. They don't have these conflicts, I think is the word I'm looking for. You're not likely to find a single a female elephant translocated on her own. I mean, if anything, you might get a bull that's translocated, and then he'll just be accepted by the herds as another bull from a different land or something that's wandered far off of his usual home range. You might have bulls interacting with him in a strange way because he doesn't fit in with the existing hierarchy of the bulls in that particular area, but it's not really that usual that you're going to have elephants translocated or placed in areas where there are already elephants. Hey, little boy, you're backing up to rush at me and charge. Yeah. No, I'm only kidding. He's not doing that. They're quite relaxed with us. If anything, they've all come a little bit closer to us and we hadn't had to go close to them. And that's just their sort of curiosity. They'll use the excuse of feeding to come and stand around and eye us out. And the fact that we're sitting here quite passively, my voice becomes more or less a monotone to them. And we're not threatening, they're not threatening, and it's a mutual trust. This youngster's going to get, yeah, there, mom's pushing him away with her foot. He's trying to get his nose in there. She's digging for roots. She's engrossed in what she's doing, and he's putting his nose in it. She's going to get cross with him. And this is part of what I was talking about, is that there are rules in their society. They reprimand for bad behavior. Yeah, there she's posturing to him to warn him. And if he doesn't heed that warning, she might then jab him with a tusk or push him away with her foot. And in a few minutes, a minute or two, if he persists, you'll hear him squeal because she's going to have to get a little bit stronger handed. She's digging for roots. He can't get to the same roots. He's not big enough. He doesn't have the agility of his trunk yet, or the strength to be able to do what she's doing. But she wants to feed first. Afterwards, he can have his fun there. Some elephants will let the youngsters drink and feed where they... Depends on how hungry or how thirsty. Maybe she's showing him. It looks like their trunks are in the same place. Could be that she's showing him how to do it. Gets the root out. There's a piece of root she's dug out and wraps it around her trunk and pulls. She might have to wrap it around her trunk and kick it with her foot to dislodge it. But that's where all the nutrient of that particular tree is. Not in the branches or the leaves. Ah, there. Didn't even have to kick it. Hello, Brenda in Louisiana. Wanting to know what the name of the bird is with the yellow head. That was the Coqui francolin, Brenda. C-O-Q-U-I. Francolin with a C. Dave wants to know if elephants sleep lying down. Ouch. Well, Dave, yes and no. We're going to leave these ellies feeding. A wonderful family. They've given us an amazing amount of trust, and I'm going to leave them be, move on, and see what else I can find for you, Dave, and I'll answer your question while we're driving out. Bye-bye, girls and boys. Yeah, that happened now. Finally, while we're moving away, now he's starting to squeal because Mama won't let him do what he wants to do. But Dave was asking if elephants sleep lying down, and well, to be honest with you, elephants don't really sleep the way we know sleep. A lot of the herbivores don't, they can't. That's a couple of things. Partly it's got to do with their digestive system. For a lot of animals that eat the grasses, there are a couple of reasons why sleep is not really an option for them. One of them is that they've constantly got to be processing the food that they eat. And one of the other things is when there are predators around, and there constantly are predators, there's a very high population of lion, leopard, hyena, wild dog, cheetah. For some of the smaller animals, things like crocodiles and pythons and eagles, it's not like you can go and take a nap and feel safe about it. So for a lot of the animals, nature's given them a sort of digestive system that, well, if you're not going to sleep that much, you might as well eat enough. Well, I don't know which came first, but the two go hand in hand, really. Animals rest. The herbivores I'm talking about. They rest, they take time off of selecting their food by lying down, tucking their legs under them and keeping their head up, and then chewing the cud for those that do chew the cud. But to actually lie down and sleep is a foreign concept to most, if not all, of the herbivores. And elephants are no exception to that. In fact, the elephant of all of them, they've got the weakest digestive system. An elephant pretty much have to be eating almost most of the time. They do rest, and sometimes in the heat of the day you'll find elephants standing in the shade of a tree. The youngsters can lie down, the adults tend to have to stand up, and they doze off for a few minutes, but not for very long periods of time. There are a few occasions, and I have seen it on occasions, where elephants, adult elephants, even big bulls, lie down. The boys. Excuse me, Mr. Wildy. But adult elephant can't really lie down for long periods of time because the weight of their bodies is a little bit too much for their vital organs. It gets hard for them to breathe. It gets hard for the heart to work as hard as it has to. So it's not a very easy thing for elephants to lie down. So there are certain circumstances that you might find that elephant will lie down in mud or in soft sand or against termite mounds. The youngsters, on the other hand, little ones, they tend to lie down and sleep more because they get tired quicker, easier. Okay, let's go back towards the dam. We're going to then make our way and see how many vehicles are going. Graham did manage to find one of the youngsters, I think. Tracy in Alabama, what's the difference between a wildebeest and a hartebeest? Difference between a moose and an elk, kind of. There's Gary Ganger back. And waterbuck. A nice herd of waterbuck here. And oh, the baby baboons, they're playing in the sun up ahead. Graham, come in. Gary Gang, Gary Dam.
Thank you. Base trying to come near behind you.
That would be Mrs. Psycho. No. Shirley and Genesis. That's a little one. Help me, Tara. Help me, Tara. Shirley and Genesis. And that would be there's a blacksmith lapwing that's dive bombing it. Maybe they're starting to nest. They haven't been that much interested in animals around the dam for a while, I don't think. I don't know if anybody can tell me who's been on Djuma Waterhole Cam whether the blacksmith lapwings have been dive bombing the likes of some of the animals that come by. Only the predators really, and maybe they'll block the elephant and the buffalo from going near their nests. Maybe that's Geordie. But there, Shirley's being harassed by that blacksmith lapwing coming back to the ground. Now, I'd say that the Gari gang are responsible for no youngsters being raised by these blacksmith lapwings. And there's Helen, the heron. Baboon drinking, sorry. That might be... No, that must be LB. No baby. It might be Gordy. I didn't get to see that. It's far away. I'm looking at my monitor. It's easier for me to see than look into the sun. But there's Helen the heron. Maybe it's not Helen. Maybe it's Harry. What was his name? Somebody named the heron once upon a time, a while ago.
There's a baby.
Baby. With that one. Oh, there, yeah. Yeah. There's... Who's that little one? That's a big little one. Not a... Could be Evelyn. Could be Evelyn. And Mrs. Sack. This looks bigger than Evelyn. That's how big I remember little Huey. But he would be bigger now if he was still around. Hello, Marianne, who's 6 years old. How many different kinds of elephant are there? That's from Marianne, wants to know that. Well, Marianne, they're actually only two kinds of elephant, in a way, sort of. There's the African elephant, and there's the Asian elephant. African elephant's a little bit bigger and it's got big ears, and the ears are shaped like Africa. And the Indian or the Asian elephant, excuse me, it's going to roll back. I can see something. rock. The Asian elephant, on the other hand, smaller, its back is round. The African elephant is concave. It's got much smaller ears. And Marianne wants to know how many types and do they all have tusks. I think there are a lot more Indian elephants, Asian elephants, that don't have tusks than there are African elephants that don't have tusks. I'm just going to go a little way along here. I don't want to go too far. I do want to go back towards the leopards. Stations leaving Klambin-Glove, just east of Ingersmeyer, open lock. They are as much, if not, well, they're as much of a predator and as much of a part of the environment and have been for millions of years, as much as any other animal that you will find in Africa. So the confusion comes in because they're called wild dog. Now, domestic dogs that escape and become wild are known as feral dogs. Any animal that has been domesticated and then goes back into the wild, like horses, you don't really, in some places you don't really get wild horses, you get feral horses. They appear wild and they behave like they're wild, but in fact they're domestic horses that might have been brought to a country by the Spanish or pioneers, and they escape. We've got horses in Namibia, and they're considered the wild horses of Namibia, but in fact they're not really wild horses. They're actually feral horses, because the horses never really occurred here in Africa. They were brought here, and this is a population of horses that became wild, and anything that becomes wild is called feral. That's why the pigeons in Central Park, they're feral pigeons, they're not wild pigeons. So these animals that we're talking about, that we call wild dog, are not feral dogs. They have never been domesticated. They are also one of the better names for a wild dog perhaps is the painted wolf, and it's kind of like Africa's wolves. They have a very similar social structure and lifestyle to the wolves of Asia, Europe and North America, the Northern Hemisphere. They are the dog family, but they are not related. They are not that closely related to wolves and dogs. Wolves and domestic dogs are closer related to each other than, say, wolves and wild dogs, or even domestic dogs and wild dogs, because the wild dogs don't belong to the genus Canis, which is the main genus of dogs. They're a subfamily of the Canidae, and they belong to the genus Lycaon, and that has reference to their wolf-like, not so much appearance, but their wolf-like habits. Lupus and Lycaon somehow have a connection, lupus being the wolf. They don't crossbreed with anything because there's nothing else. Not only is there not another species of Lycaon, they're known as Lycaon pictus, which means the painted wolf. They are in not only a unique species, but they're in a unique genus. There's no other animal that belongs to that genus. So there's no animal on earth that can interbreed with the likes of the African wild dog. Actually, another name for them that's a better name is the African hunting dog. It used to be the Cape hunting dog. There were so many things that were named Cape this and Cape that, and it was all mostly because these things were first discovered in the Cape, and then people started traveling a little bit more to the interior, and they found that these animals were also found in the interior. So the Cape buffalo was actually found all the way up to Kenya. And now we're finding genetic differences that might suggest subspecies or different species. Genetics went around 30 years ago, so you can imagine that 3, 4, even 500 years ago, people were just going on appearance and lumping things together based on appearance, let alone more subtle details or even genetics. And it's only now through genetics that we're finding the world is so much more diverse than we ever thought it was. I just learned a while ago how so many trout species are actually closer related to salmon or other fish, and they've just had these sort of parallel paths of evolution to look like trout. Meanwhile, they're not really trout, technically speaking. It's like the plants that we have that grow in similar manners. Colony of dwarf mongoose in front of us that are running away from me, and some of the guinea fowl. Sorry, mongoose. They're all going to Monarch Manor. Oh, what? Something wrong? Oops. Aha, getting a taste of your own medicine, huh? There's a piglet running away. Tara and I... Never mind. But yes, Tara's waiting for me to pause so that she can send me a question. I'll shut up for a minute. Okay, bye. Mongoose are hiding. Mongoose, they're hiding. Hello, Ruthie in Michigan. Nice to have you back with us. Ruthie in Michigan's been with us for a long time. Have I ever heard of the taiga nut? Is it taiga? But I haven't heard of that one from South America, Ruthie, but we have a similar one here in Africa, and we call it vegetable ivory. And the two have to be related because it sounds identical to what we have here in Africa. Not in this part of it, we're too far south for the tree, but Ruthie's talking about a palm nut, the nut of a palm tree that is carved, and it's got the most beautiful white, very, very hardy nut to it that can make the most beautiful carvings, and it kind of looks like ivory, but it's vegetable, so it's elephant-friendly ivory in a way. We call it vegetable ivory, and here it comes from palm trees known as either the doom palm or the lala palm. There are a number of species of palm trees that the Hyphane, Hyphane, Hyphane genus, I think it is. We don't have any here. The only palm we have here is the wild date palm, or the reclining date palm known as Phoenix reclinata. Reclining palm, because they recline in the riverbed. The lazy palm, reclinata. But I know what you're talking about, Ruthie, and I'm not surprised that there's something in South America. When you consider that South America and Africa would join, there are so many connections to really ancient things in both South America and Africa that are similar. A lot of the newer stuff, though, there's a lot of stuff that has evolved more recently that is different. And here are the warthog that were running away from us. I managed to get to the west of them. We're just going to say hello to them. And while we do, I just want to find out what's happening with the leopard that are not far from us. Here's another Coqui francolin. Hello, piglets. Mama pig and one older child and 2 younger children. 4 piglets. So let me find out what's happening with the leopard. Who's on lock with Ingwe? They don't like us for some reason. Graham, come in. Are we still unlocked, Jacques? Sorry, go over that again. Okay, I think we've got 2 radios talking at the same time. Thanks, Graham. Can I join you? Thank you. Can't see it. There's a female Cokie Franklin just in front of me. It's weird, we've seen quite a few of them today and I haven't seen any of them, well, hardly seen much of them this whole winter. Sorry, little one. I think it was a little bit too hot when we were driving around looking for them and they might have stayed hidden. Be interesting to see where they are now. Oh wow, this is so bad. Sorry, Tara. I got a lot of it. I didn't get names and I didn't get what they eat. And it sounds like Sienna and Faith. What do the baboons eat? And who's grandma? Shelly. Shelly. Kidney Shelly. Oh. Hello. Grandma Shelly and Faith and Sienna. Welcome to our drive. Wanted to know if baboons eat leaves. They do. They eat. Leaves are one of the things they eat. Baboons are kind of related to us in a way because they're primates. And we are primates. And so they have a diet that's very similar to ours. We eat leaves, lettuce leaves, and well, that's just one of them, but we eat other leaves too. But they also eat roots and they eat fruits and berries and insects. Uh-oh. Yes. Just want to check something quickly. There's a serious thorn in the tire. Hope it's only in the tread. Yeah, it was a zebra wood thorn. Man's got to be careful of those zebra woods. But it was just on the edge of the tread, I think. Didn't get into the tire. Still on the outside of the pliers. Sorry. Digressing. I heard that actually got into the tire. So I know we don't eat insects. Well, we do. We eat some insects. We eat insects from the sea. No, they're not insects. Prawns and crayfish and things. We love them. They eat scorpions and. Well, they also eat birds' eggs and small birds. There are times that baboons will even eat animals. They'll eat baby warthog or baby impala. They do hunt sometimes. At the end of the dry season in the early summers, when the rains come and the babies come, they can easily get hold of one of the babies. They will, and they do. So they're what we call omnivores. Right, we're going to go and see some leopard now while the sun is setting in this lovely late afternoon night. I don't know if Karula's back yet. Here's, no, not there. That's the dead marula tree. Somewhere near us here there is. Oh, they didn't move far from where they were left this morning. They were in the same place actually. So they might have moved away and then come back to where they were. Graham, come in. Antonio. Merci. Just the right thing to watch on a Labor Day. And I don't want to see anybody in white tomorrow. No white after Labor Day. Okay, judging by where guests are looking there on the other side of Graham. Let's go this way around. I do. But just wait, please. The lens looks dirty because we're looking into the sun. Okay, we're just going to wait. Graham will be leaving shortly, and it'll allow us to get a better look. It seems like it's quite a difficult sighting to look at because there's long grass, and they are lying up in the long grass. So we're just going to wait. Graham's guest is going to take some more photos, and we'll wait for him to move along. While we're waiting, it sounds like there was another question. Happy Labor Day, Canada and US. Hello, Madison. Madison's 6 years old. Welcome, Madison. Hello. Wanting to know if I'm scared of snakes. No, I'm not, Madison. Not even my mom was scared of snakes. I was allowed to get snakes as a kid. I nagged my mother for a while. She kept saying no, and I kept nagging. And sometimes I better not say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Sometimes it helps to really nag. Shouldn't say that. But yes, eventually my mom allowed me to get some pet snakes. And I was probably also about 8 years, maybe I was a bit older. I was about 10 years old. I think she made me wait till I was about 10 years old. And none of my family, we weren't really scared of anything. My mom was a little scared of elephants well, she still is. But to be honest, I've collected snakes. I love snakes. I like watching snakes. So let's see how we're going to be able to fit in here and see these children. I'll try and squeeze through this gap. Wow. Hey, Bob in Texas. Great to hear from you. Hearing about the drought in Texas. I know Linda kept telling us how it was hot in Texas, or it was just always Linda from hot Texas, and I heard about the dry conditions, but I had no idea that Bob's saying that snake bite incidents increased as a result of. Are you finding anything, Seb?
Nah, not really.
I think it's just Graham's vehicle's just in the way. But he's going to be leaving right now, so we're just going to wait for him to move on, and we'll try and get a view of them. And Bob was saying that there's an increase in snakebite incidents as a result of snakes trying to come in to suburbia, I guess, and places for water. I wonder if I should try. No, let's see. We'll try like this. You know what? We drove here when we were looking. We were looking. We took this right on the edge of this open area. We just missed them. Only one of the children sitting here in the grasses, and that is ears flat. Shivanzi, I'm sorry, girl. Are you not happy with us? Okay, this is Shivanzi. This is Karula's daughter. Her third daughter. From her third litter, and it just happens to be her third daughter. And now it's starting to cool down. She might get active, and her brother might appear. In fact, Seb, we came to look at this termite mound, didn't we?
When this afternoon?
Yeah. I don't know, we might have. Maybe I missed it. But this is the termite mound they were at this morning. When we came to see them this morning, we left them just after they were on the other side of this termite mound. And it was weird because he was wandering away and she was kind of following him, and she was the one that was trying to sort of reluctant to move too far away. He might be at that termite mound. See how she's relaxed all of a sudden? From those ears flat, ears are up. She's quite okay now. Maybe because you spend so much time near my house and you've heard my voice a lot. You know our vehicle. Pretty little girl. She's hearing something. Look at that. She's listening to something moving in the grasses somewhere. Oh, what's she got? That's a long-tailed shrike behind us, or a magpie shrike in a tree. That must have been catching something in the grasses, and the wing beats must have attracted her attention. See if she quivers. See if her upper lips quiver watching the bird, like your domestic cat would do. I don't want to move. I don't want to start the engine, so it's not a great view because she's moved. Could probably move back, and if I did, to get a clearer view of her, I would block her view of whatever it is she's watching. Ears went down because it's moved closer, maybe?
No, it just flew away though.
Oh, it flew away, so she just dropped her ears and ducked down so that she wouldn't be seen. The last thing that she wants, because if that magpie shrike, it's also known as, what used to be known as a long-tailed shrike, if it saw her, it would give off an alarm call, and the shrikes shriek. They're very loud birds. And that would have just drawn too much attention. She doesn't want to draw attention to her. She doesn't want hyenas around. She's sitting here quietly waiting for her mother Karula to come back from hunting and maybe fetch her and take her to a kill. So the last thing she wants is to be noticed by an aggressive bird like a shrike. And now she's sitting down again because the shrike has moved off. I think she was just attracted by maybe the noise of wings in grasses as that shrike was hunting. So now I need to move, now that she's laid down again. Let me just try and move a little bit, just to get another view of her face. We try and get this side of this tree. Yeah, I think so. Hyenas are active. I don't think we're going to get to hyenas. I think we're going to have to see what's going to happen here with the sun going down, and maybe brother's going to come out of hiding, and maybe mom's going to come back, and who knows what's going to happen with the leopards. So the fact is that we're here with them, and I think this is my and Seb and Tara's contribution to Labor Day festivities. We can't give you a Labor Day parade with all the animals, but we can give you Labor Day leopard. Another bird she's watching. So did I interrupt myself with something again? Neither can I. Hello, Sue. Sue asked a question this morning that didn't get answered. Sorry about that, Sue. Said,
Yeah.
see this flower blowing in the breeze here? There's one here and there's one tall one there. These tall, they're just tiny.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We were with that wild hibiscus,
Yeah.
the dwarf hibiscus.
For sure.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Just before I get to Sumax, because now that I've seen it and before we get engrossed in leopard, I just wanted to point it out. That I showed you the dwarf hibiscus the other day, and the flowers were open, and I said that they're going to go lovely pink to reddish color when they start getting old. It's going to be hard because it's such a tiny flower. There we go. There's the same ones. As they start closing and dying, they go lovely deep pink and red. What would be nice if I could have lined it up and you could have done a focus pull from.
Yeah, that's what I want to do now, but I don't think Shivanzi is in the back.
Well, you'd get it from where I am, here.
Yeah, not from where I am.
No, it would be perfect. The angle's just right. If I just went
Can you
forward.
see now if I put focus, just crash.
Yes, I know, but I just have to go forward.
Yeah. Okay, let's try.
Okay, let's try. While I'm answering this question, at what age will Karula teach them how to hunt? And if she does, and if she kills something, will she then come back and fetch them and take them to the kill? There, she's doing what I was gonna watch. This. She's watching the shrike. It's now shrieking, and she was quivering. Those whiskers were bouncing up and down. Not interested in us at all, more interested in the life around her. And this helps me answer the very question that I'm about to answer, is that leopards don't have to teach their youngsters how to hunt, because with leopard, it's almost an instinctive thing. Look at that. She's already going to stalk mode. She's watching something. She's kind of that same shrike. She's going into stalk mode almost. Actually, it's something else that she's after. The shrike is now. We gotta move. We gotta move. We gotta move. Gotta see what she's after. The magpie shrike was shouting at her, but she was after something else. She wasn't maybe looking at the shrike. She was watching the shrike and being careful about what she was doing, maybe. But this is perfect for proving my point. That you see, the life of leopards, living semi-solitary. I mean, we've always thought of them as solitary, but of course we've been seeing a lot more social behavior out of leopard than anybody has probably seen in the last 20 years, or even in the history of watching leopards. But because they live in relatively thick bush environments. I mean, that is, and mountainous terrain, and they live in the kind of habitat that doesn't really lend itself to living in groups and being able to observe each other's behavior. So instead of giving them this need to learn from mom, nature has given them this ability to hunt on instinct. When something moves, she's after something. Look at that. It's a squirrel. Must have been a squirrel gone up the tree. And now you can hear the shrikes shrieking. There's a family of them, because the magpie shrikes are never on their own. They're always in a family. And she would have been doing this from 3 months old. She would have been chasing mice or lizards or grasshoppers or anything that moved. It's an instinctive thing. It's the same as domestic cats. For those of you who are cat lovers, and I'm up there with all of you all that love the cats and their ability to instinctively go after things. Generally, with domestic cats, you take them away from mom at 6 weeks old and you become the mother, but you don't teach them how to hunt, yet they know. They'll sit at the window and they'll do what she was doing when she was looking at the squirrel or the bird, whatever it was. She was quivering. She was doing that. She was imagining doing the death bite. Her jaw was quivering, her whiskers were quivering. And given the opportunity, she'll chase anything. So it's not like with leopard there's a specific age when leopard learn how to hunt. They just know from birth. They chase things. They know what they can and they know what they can't. A lot of them will learn by example, and they will learn the hard way some of the things that they can't catch, like cobras or porcupines or maybe wasps and scorpions and things that have a bit of a kick. Cheetah are different. She's watching the shrike now that's flying around the tree. Cheetah are different. Cheetah, because of the way they live and where they live and how they live, it's a completely different story. They've got to hunt on the open plain, and they've got to get relatively close to their prey, and they've got to have really specific hunting techniques for whatever it is that they're hunting. And instinct doesn't play a very big role in that, because you have to learn how to do it. And because it's out on the open grasslands, it's easy enough for mom to sit her cubs down and sort of say, okay, I'm going off, watch me. And she will, and they'll watch her growing up, and then eventually they'll get to an age where she'll go off and she'll catch something small and she'll call them over. Not necessarily take it to them, but she'll call them over and they'll come, and when they get close to her, and I've seen this, I've watched cheetah raising their cubs, when they get close to her, she'll release it and then they will chase it, and that's how she teaches them how to hunt. She'll catch a baby gazelle or a baby impala or a baby warthog or something small. Sometimes they'll get a little bit bigger over time, and sometimes her cubs will surprise her by catching something on their own. When they're sitting on the edge of an open area watching her hunt, and she hunts, and the very fact of her hunting chases the animals towards her children, and I've seen it where the youngsters jump up and catch an adult impala and she doesn't catch anything. That's kind of the day that signifies the end of her training period. Look at this beautiful cat. That was such a Karula pose. Tongue sticking out. Like daughter, like mother. She is such a beautiful cat. Hello, Kay. Can we make an exception about white after Labor Day? Because it was 99 degrees overnight for Kay. Not my rule, Kay. I think if I was in the States, I would wear white after Labor Day just for Dafka, just because. But yeah, I believe it's a rule because the middle and upper class societies frowned upon it because Labor Day was supposed to signify the end of the holiday, the end of summer, the end of play, and get back down to work and get back serious, and it was the end of the warm temperatures to wear white. So don't wear white after Labor Day. Isn't there a specific colour shoe you're not supposed to wear? Let's go closer. She's climbing the Shiduli. Shiduli. Termite mountain. Gonna get some beautiful. Pity the sun has already set. We're on the eastern side of a ridge, so the sun, not much sun here yet. Left a little bit, but there's beautiful sunshine behind her, and this should provide us with some really fantastic photographs. She's still looking at something up this marula tree, probably a squirrel, judging by where she was looking. I'm guessing quite likely. You want to on left or right? Huh? You want to on the left side or the right side?
Go like this, normally on the right.
Okay. Well, that's just going to burst a tire. Hello, Virginia. In Virginia, this is Jenny. There's the squirrel. She's watching the squirrel. She might even climb the tree eventually. They're good. Not Virginia. Squirrel was on that top fork, but doesn't matter. It's gone behind.
Yeah, from here it's fine.
Is that good? Virginia. Hello, Virginia. Sorry, what was the question? Has a brother still got no name? Yes, he has. I meant to mention it. Thanks for reminding me, Virginia. We will be having a meeting on Thursday, the 8th of September. 8th is the next Rangers meeting, and I've said that I won't walk away from that meeting without a name for that youngster. So, isn't that amazing photograph, that Sept? Because you can get that really nice sunlight behind her, and then I hope this camera does her justice and I don't get blurred shots. But welcome to Djuma, everybody. A very, very special little cat who's 10 months old. Is a wild leopard known as Shivinzi, and she's the daughter of a very special cat known as Karula. And she's got a brother who we were just talking about. He's as yet to be named, previously known as, or as yet to be named, hyphenated. I wonder where he is. He's got to be around here somewhere. He's very shy when his mother's not around. When mom's around, he's fine, but as soon as mom's gone off, she can't take her eyes off of the squirrel that's up the tree teasing her. Hello, Ellen in Illinois. Ellen is commenting on why it is that they're always on termite mounds. Well, it's because they want to see mom from they want to know when mom's coming back, so they're keen to have a greater view during the heat of the day.
Did you check
Excuse me a sec, Ellen. Sorry.
boundary to the south of Big Dam?
They're talking about what, elsewhere. Ellen, it gives them a vantage point. During the heat of the day, as we saw, it's one of the reasons why I delayed coming back here. I thought maybe at the start of drive we could find them, and it was probably still too hot and they were lying flat in long grasses. But now that the sun is going down and they know that Mom's likely to come back for them soon, well, I'm talking about her. I don't know where little boy is. He might be lying on a termite mound elsewhere as well by now. In fact, if we drove around, we might find him. But I'm not going to bother because he's shy and it'll just chase him off. And so they lie up on a termite mound so that they can not only see Mom coming but also see danger coming. The termite mounds are, yes, to a large extent, well, Ellen was asking how the termites make them and how long. I mean, this termite mound has got to be 6 feet high maybe, and it's got to be about, I'd say easily 20 feet in diameter. So judging by that, it's been around for many decades. I couldn't tell you exactly. It's impossible for me to tell you. I could say it might be here for 200 years. It might be accurate, it might be way off. But she's still seeing the squirrel. But it's not so much made of the termites eating the dead wood and spitting something out as much as it is they eat the dead wood and they excrete the byproduct of them consuming and breaking down dead wood, and then using the byproduct of that when eventually all the termites have gone through it, because they'll pass on their waste to another termite to extract even more, and eventually it'll come out as just this pure sort of sticky substance, and they use that to glue the grains of sand together. And it's a very, very powerful glue, as you can see. I mean, I could theoretically drive my Land Rover over the top of that termite mound. Maybe not this one because it's a long wheelbase, but mine could go over the top and down the other side without damaging it. Termite mounds are so solid, they've been used for clay tennis courts for many, many years. I don't know if they still are, probably not. Must have used a lot of termite mounds to build tennis courts in the 50s and 60s. Thanks, Bobby G, for reminding us. Simply Chris did want us to wish her a happy birthday, and because it was the 31st of August, and it passed and we didn't mention it. Sorry about that. Happy birthday, Simply Chris. Chris? Oh, it was a go-away bird that she was watching that flew away. And it wasn't even shouting, go away. Hello, Ellen, another Ellen, this time in New Jersey. Ellen in New Jersey was asking about insect problems. I'm the wrong person to ask, or rather put insect and problem in the same sentence, Ellen, because I don't see insect as a problem. Yeah, we do get bugged by flies in the summer months when we're around things like buffalo and elephants, maybe, and sometimes rhino. We can get really pesky, tiny little flies that want to get to the moisture in the corner of your mouth, or up your nose, or in the corner of your eyes. And They're tiny little bees known as mocha bees or mapani bees. Have them more at home than we get them here. And they don't sting, and they don't crawl all over you, but they're tiny, and they also want to get to the moisture in the corner of your eye and the corner of your mouth. Not that it's a problem, and it's not constant. It's every now and then. It's like for a few seconds in a day. It's not like it's a deterrent to come to Africa. Mosquitoes, I've never had a problem on drives with mosquitoes. Mosquitoes you're going to get back at the lodge, maybe. You're going to get around anywhere around human habitation. That's where you're going to get mosquitoes, because that's where their food is. Mostly out in the bush, you're away from water, you're away from places where you're going to get mosquitoes. So there's not like there are mosquitoes everywhere in the bush. Close to water there are, and of course close to the lodges and the camps. And that's where you get human habitation, so you get standing water and you get the possibility for mosquitoes to breed. So a lot of lodges also are close to dams and rivers and things, so you might get mosquitoes around them. They're not a major problem. Can you open the iris? Personally, I don't really put anything on. Again, I put on long sleeves if they are a problem. I've been lucky. Last summer we didn't have a problem with mosquitoes at all. The summer before, I should just try and roll forward just to get that grass stump away from her nose. Let's just see. I'm just gonna goes backwards. All right, let me just try and get inch forward just so that we can get that little grass clump away from her nose. She's watching something else now behind her. It's possibly her brother. I'm just looking at her body language. I move forward and she moves her head forward, so she's still behind the grass clump. That's because she's stretching her head forward. When she relaxes, she'll pull it back a bit. But the way she's blinking now, I think she's watching her brother move. It's not the same kind of watching as though there's something to chase. Your ears are forward, so there's a positive message there. She's leaning forward now. Watching something in the grass. My guess is that it was the way she's blinking like that is that's eye contact with another cat. But now I can't see her eye, so now I'm going to try and move again. Tara can remind me what I was talking about with Ellen in New Jersey. Oh, the mosquito story, of course. I'm impossible sometimes remembering things. Oh, what a gorgeous cat. The best thing to use is citronella based or by natural based products. But what I do is I just put on long sleeves and I put on I try and cover myself. One of the best things about it all is just try and prevent them from biting you by putting on long sleeves. Sometimes they'll even wear socks if they do get bad, if I'm in a place where they get bad. But they're not much of a problem here. Other insects and things, not a problem. We don't have the tsetse fly problem that you have in East Africa. It's not so much of a problem if you can deal with the odd tsetse fly and make up for the wildlife that you see. One cancels the other one out. But we have a little fly here called the clegs that comes out. I saw one yesterday, and they might come out, and they don't bite as bad as a tsetse fly, but they also try and get to your blood, so that they try and bite you. They're worse than mosquitoes, because mosquitoes at least have the decency to give you an anesthetic before they bite you, so you don't really feel it. You only feel the anesthetic wearing off, and then it starts itching. The clegs and the tsetse fly, they don't have that anesthetic, so when they bite you, boy, you feel it. It's like you feel it. That's not bad. It's not like it's going. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a deterrent. It shouldn't be something that, well, I'm not going to Africa because I'll get bit by a tsetse fly. That's really silly. You're trying to match what's on camera.
What? Huh?
Nothing.
In my camera?
No, I'm saying, yeah, on your camera to match what's on that
I
camera.
just use it as a...
But it would be nice, because if we do like a diary or something,
Yeah.
then you do the and then
Yeah.
the stills.
Yeah, it would be the same.
That's a beautiful, beautiful composition there.
Well, right now I use it more as like a support.
Oh. Do you use manual settings?
Yeah.
Jennifer in Toronto, I've seen it in cats, but not in big cats. Jennifer's saying she's got a cat that has a birthmark in her iris. Have I ever seen it in big cats? I haven't, but I have seen it in domestic cats. I think there are a lot of, Jennifer, I think there are a lot of anomalies that occur in domestic cats that are perhaps not common, but they occur frequently as a result of inbreeding. I think one of them, actually no, not one of them, and I can tell you about. Oh, look at that. Ears are a little bit flat. What? Am I not allowed to talk about that? She just shows a little bit of displeasure when she does that, but it can't be from us. It might be something else. But there are a number of things, a number of anomalies that you will find in domestic cats. One of them is the ginger cat thing. Not so much inbreeding in this case, not so much inbreeding, but so much of a mixture of genetics that there's got to be one end of the gene pool that throws out the same thing. And in cats, you get the ginger syndrome, and that is most ginger cats. Probably 99.9% of ginger cats are male. I've had a female ginger. I've known a few, been very lucky to know a few female ginger cats in my life. They're very, very special. They've got amazing characters. But most ginger cats will be male. And by the same token, your calicos, 99% of them are female. And you'll also find that a lot of the calicos have got a kink in their tail. You will find that white cats that are born pure white, not cats that have got the odd marking here and there, but cats that are born white, almost leucistic, that show signs of leucism rather than albinism. They're not albino, they've still got blue eyes or what have you, but I've known white cats that have blue eyes, or one blue eye, one green eye, to be deaf. And these are genetic throwbacks from just such a mixture of genes and having the extremes in the gene pool pop up because of the mixture or the inbreeding. But I haven't noticed it, and maybe it's because the genetics in the big cats are so pure in some cases. Maybe we need to look at cheetah the next time we see them. Look at their eyes, because there isn't that much of a genetic variation amongst the cheetah population. So for them it's a different story. But for most of the big cats, I think there's so little inbreeding and so little of that their genes are a lot purer, and I haven't noticed birthmarks in the eye. There are a lot of you viewers out there that have been watching Karula for many years. In fact, some of you have probably watched Karula. You might have seen Karula since she was a baby, when Safari was raising her, before she even became a mother. And I don't know her from those days. I've only known Karula for 2.5 years now. But of all her children, and I've never seen Tingana, or if I have, it's once or twice. I've seen Saseka a few times. Those were her first two cubs, her first two girls, Tingana and Saseka. And then there's Misha and Induna that showed no signs of it. But now, if anything, I'm seeing more and more of Karula in this cub than I've seen in any of her cubs from her previous litters. This is just so her. Very intensely watching something. Hello, Cheryl in Iowa. Wow, thanks. Cheryl in Iowa wanting to know about the sawing. I'm not too sure, Cheryl, if you mean the oh, better not do it too loud. There, she moved her ear to listen to me. That's typical leopard. I'm not too sure what you mean, whether it's that quivering of the whiskers that I was talking about earlier, or the actual leopard sawing noise, because that's just unique to leopards, not other cats. Now, if some of you are new viewers to Djuma Game Reserve, our live drive, or our Djuma Waterhole camera, and you're just tuning in for the first time, happy Labour Day or happy Monday, or wherever you are, I'd love to hear from you, wherever you are in the world. It's always nice to try and draw a mind map of where all these questions are coming from. I'm not going to talk on it. She's going after something again. I'm answering questions live, and you can send them to questions@djuma.com. DJUMA. But now it's time to watch leopard behavior, because she's been watching something and she's now starting to react to it. We're looking at a very full tummy on a leopard. She and her brother had a kill down there. Might account for her tummy. But her mother has gone off, left them this morning, went off hunting, and hasn't come back yet. We were with her and her baby and her brother, the two children. Don't know where brother's gone. I'm guessing that some of this behavior is because brother's coming back again. This is not the kind of behavior that she's seeing an animal and she wants to try and remain hidden and she's going to stalk it. This is the kind of behavior that she wants to pounce on her brother. I want to see what is going to happen. I'd love to know what she's looking at. She might be watching something. I might be wrong. Something other than her brother. It's the squirrel again. It's the squirrel again. I was wrong. You can't always tell. Always be sure. I don't know if you can get that squirrel. Sorry. Just watching her, but it'd be nice to just swing the camera. We'll see the squirrel watching her. Watch this, everybody. This is quite fun. I know she's frozen. This is the marula tree. It was in, and somehow it's managed to get into this apple leaf. This is an apple leaf tree, Lonchocarpus. And there's a little squirrel watching it. It's not even alarming. Possibly knows that she's a youngster. it definitely knows that she's got absolutely no chance in catching it. Well, that's what the squirrel thinks at any rate. So it's a, am I allowed to say it without being politically incorrect, a Mexican standoff. Neither one wants to move or make the first move. But if the squirrel turns its back, she's going to run. And if she moves, the squirrel will run anyway and get away. But it's not much of a tree that the squirrel is in. There are no lateral branches that she can get to. It's a very tall, straight tree. But the squirrel will so easily, I think the squirrel's teasing her. Because if the squirrel draws her to that tree, the squirrel can run up that tree and then jump into the big marula tree next to it and escape very easily. The squirrel's got his escape route planned, mapped out. I thought she was watching brother, but she's not. She's not giving up on the squirrel. Can't see the squirrel now, it seems to have moved off. Oh, she's going after something. She doesn't know where it is, it's lost in the grass. Okay, we're going to have to move. She's bouncing after something and stopped again. Tail twitching. Sorry, baby Jackleberry. Didn't want to disturb you. Lovely little 10-year-old Jackleberry again. She doesn't know where it is. Something. Waiting to hear something in the grasses. I'm going to move again so we can get a clear view. The idea is to try and move when I can see that she's going to pause in this behavior of hers so we don't miss it. No, okay. She's just hidden behind that little sickle bush. This is a wattle. That's a little wattle. Doing what she's doing now increases her chances of survival. Well, it multiplies her chances of survival because she's developing instincts, she's developing muscles, she's developing tactics and techniques and learning lessons that she would never get if she was just to sort of lie down in the shade and wait for mom to come back and take her to a kill. Because although I said earlier that their hunting is instinctive, it's not something that they can rely on. It's not something that they can take time off of life and just go and lie in the shade and wait for mom to come back and take you to food. This is what being a leopard is that while you're waiting for mom to come and get you, you're actually actively trying to find something and chase after things. And I don't know, she might even have something at the base of that little baby knobthorn. Whether the baby I don't know. Can't see from here, it's getting dark. Could be a baby. Could be a combretum. Don't know. Young tree. Okay.
One.
Okay, copied. Server might be down.
Huh?
Server might be down.
Why?
Don't know.
No, but what's happening? She doesn't stream anymore.
Well, I don't know, just trying to get hold of Pete or Alex. And we've just gone over 1,000.
Sure.
Must be a hole there that something went into.
Yeah.
Looks like she's even putting her head in a hole.
Two.
Yeah, our phone. Maybe
No,
I
channel
can.
two.
Are you sure?
You're on channel 2.
No.
On your radio.
No, we can't phone him in Russia, but don't know what to do. We've gone phone Pete. Okay, so we're definitely down. Maybe the Hoodspray server's gone. I shouldn't need credit on Skype if somebody else is on Skype. Oh, unless you mean to phone from Skype. Yeah. Damn. Karen is trying to get hold of Renee's number to get hold of Pete. But
Okay.
well, we can stop. Are you recording?
I'm stopping now.
No, don't.
You can have a split and have a CD.
Where is my phone?
Where's that from?
Penny.
Oh, nice. But that's made in South Africa, isn't it?
Yeah. She's still got something at the base of that tree, which she's interested in.
Watch out the smoke.
Ready to take camera off. Okay, we might be on. Hello, baby girl. Gotta move my foot out of the way. Don't like my feet. Can't have my feet. You're gonna be like my koala. Gonna lie right next to me. Hello, baby girl. What you watching? Meow. Hello, baby girl. Where's your brother? Please let's be live. Oh. What was that? It was like a huge explosion somewhere far away. Yeah. She's talking. Hello, baby girl. What can you see there? Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Looks could kill. So I'm going to switch it off for now. In this fading light, I'm hoping that we're with you. Are you with us? If not, just in case. Well, just in case. Until I've got confirmation, I'll still pretend you're still there, and we're going to sit here in the fading light. It's actually lighter than it is on camera, but that's fine, doesn't matter. She has chosen to come and sit next to us. It was her choice. She was far away. She was eyeing my feet out until I put them inside the car. I don't think any change. I don't think there's any change. My radio's been down, but I don't think there's been any change on Western Gary. We're near the hyena there. Near enough. They might come patrolling nearby. She'll get into the marula tree. Or she'll get on top of the vehicle and sit at the back with Sept. Under the circumstances, I can't move. She's too close to start up the car. Okay, you have a nap. I'll watch for you. Yeah, we do need a picture because Pete's trying to get our stream back again. He's got it, but nobody else has. Remember I dropped it. Now I can't remember where. That hyena.
Sorry? Did you hear hyena?
What am I hearing? Don't know. One, two. Go to date. I don't want to go to a date. Oh, that's really sad. On such a day, maybe we crashed the internet. So many viewers.
Too many viewers, yeah.
Hello, welcome. If somebody is back with us, please send a message to Tara to say that you're watching, because we're sitting here in the dark in more ways than one. We're sitting here in the dark with Shavinzi, Karula's daughter, and we are sitting, it's getting dark. I'm switching the light off again, so it's dark. So I've been kind of in two minds. Do I put the light on this little girl and so that you get a picture? Because I'm sure a lot of people have been wondering about picture, just with the black screen. But I have been putting the light on every now and then, and we did have an internet problem. But I have something to point out about this little girl. As we were watching her, there's a bush, oh, maybe 20 yards away. And there's obviously a hole at the base of that bush. It's sort of down there, that one there, right? Not the big one, but the little one to the right of it. I think when you last saw her, some of you went away just before it got dark. She was at the base of that little bush. All it is one straight trunk. It'll get leaves soon, but that little thing, at the base of that, there was a little animal or something, and she was chasing into a hole. And she spent most of the time that we seem to have lost you, or you lost us, over there. And then as it got dark, she came here right next to me. Here's me. There's my foot, almost. She came to us and she lay down next to us. She cleaned herself a little bit and she eyed my toes a little bit too intently. So I put my feet in the car. But I haven't been able to move because I know that if I start the engine, it's going to give her a fright. And also, well, she came to me. I didn't go close to her. This is little Shavinzi. Shivanzi is listening to me as I speak. She's interested in other things around us. Just going to shine my light. See if I can see any eyes. Mostly I'm looking for her brother somewhere around us that might be popping his head up. So far not seeing anything. And this is Djuma Game Reserve. Welcome. If you're joining us now, if you've been waiting to try and get back to us, I made a joke. I was hoping that it was actually even one of those truer words said in jest. Or was it never a truer word said in jest? Never a truer word than that said in jest. I don't know, something like that. But evidently we seem to have had a problem, and I was sort of hoping that maybe, gee, we just had so many viewers watching us all of a sudden, watching this little girl chasing squirrels and bouncing through the bush like Hobbes from Calvin and Hobbes. But it might have something to do with her comfort around us, having grown up close to camp and close to our quarters. I'm just going to keep the light. I'm not on her, I'm just keeping the light so we can see that there's a picture going. Her what food really is, because for her formative years, from even the time that she was being weaned, when she was still suckling, every aspect of her life would know that she's a predator and know what her prey species is, and we just don't fall into that category. Must be said though that the lodge takes very good care of the people that are involved in Vuyatela, and of course the guests that come and visit when we do have animals near camp. Spotted cat in the grass. I should actually leave her be. Because things have to happen. We're not going to see much happen now anyway. She's not going to be running around playing. She's staying close to the two trees that I'm at now. This apple leaf and the marula tree. And she's within a few yards of where she was left by her mother this morning. Little boy is probably around here somewhere. I know I said I didn't want to start the car, but also I'm reluctant to sit here and just be with her in the dark with the light on her, and I can't sit here in the dark without you seeing something. So we'll leave her be and hope that tomorrow morning we can catch up on the lives of Karula and her two children. Bye-bye, baby girl. She lifted her head and listened to us as I started it up. We'll just see her on the way out. She hasn't even got up. She's learned that we're not a threat, so she... Hang on a second.
Copy, thanks, then.
There he is. There's the boy. I can see him. Well, you unfortunately Seb won't be able, the camera won't be able to see his eye. If I try and get myself in line with the camera, you will. He's watching her. Well, it might be an idea to stick around a little bit. That thin marula tree at the back there is at the base of it. You see his eye now. Okay. Pretend I'm not looking for him. Go a little bit closer. I think he's looking straight at her, so I'm sure at some point, being where he is now, he must have been watching her when I thought at one stage she was watching him. I'm sure that was when she was, because it was just the way she was looking and flashing her eyes that cats do when they look at each other. He's lying down, he hasn't even moved either much, putting his head down now. I'm gonna have a look at him quickly. Little boy. What about Shivanda? I don't know what it means. It just sounds like a nice name. Shivinzi and Shivanda. Hey, little boy. Not so shy tonight, are you? You're getting used to us. And then you'll actually might turn out to be a really nice leopard, and then it'll be the wrong name anyway. He was shy when he was younger. But like I felt compelled to leave her in the dark, sleeping, waiting for Mum to come back. I kind of feel compelled to leave him, and the two of them, without us being here, will be able to communicate with each other. They'll be able to talk to each other, maybe get together. Under the circumstances, it's probably best not to have them bathed in light if the hyena come by. They do have trees to climb. They've been in many situations with the hyena already, so don't need to be too concerned. Haven't seen any hyena yet, haven't heard them yet. I'm just saying that if they are going to be hyena, they're going to hear them and react to them far better than if we weren't here shining lights on them. So for the finale for this evening, let us find another nocturnal something that might prove entertaining. Crushing my binoculars in the gear lever. Springtime is here. The crickets are calling. I haven't put on a jacket yet, and the air is still. There are more than crickets. Cicadas singing. Katydids. There've been frogs calling.
What's the look?
There's an animal that comes out onto the open area near camp that might be out on a night like tonight. It's one of the first few nice spring nights. There's a fragrance in the air that comes from many different things that are flowering that we're going to be watching over the next few days, or looking at, or as I say, watching as they change from day to day. So there's a lot of activity that hasn't been happening for a few months. Might bring out an animal like one that I'm looking for now in the open area, which we're almost at. Maybe if there's some impala we can have a look, because he or she normally hangs out where there are impala, because can get insects that are chased up by them moving through the grasses and feeding at night. There are a lot of impala. Whistling. Brain's trying to register what it is that's whistling. In a tree up ahead. Might this be a bush baby? Maybe it is. Two of them. Two bush babies, but very deep in. No, I'm not going to get them. Sorry. I'll find you another bush baby. Looking for another animal that's a nocturnal animal, and I'm seeing most what's that scrub here, yeah, but here are some impala. We're just near the lodge, we're just near camp, and sometimes on these open short grass areas we find, besides the scrub here that's running across our bows, must be a thickney that's whistling like that. Spotted thickney. Very scrub here. Very impala. Looking for mongoose. Guess mongoose isn't here tonight. But an elephant. It's the matriarch of my elephant herd. Called Penny. Penny was asking about this elephant the other day, because I had other elephants and I never really shown it to anybody, and it reminded me that I better got to show you this elephant, because it's made of a remarkable thing. It's beadwork. Sorry, right in your eyes. There's a nice reflection. This is quite unique to our part of the world is the kind of beadwork that you can get here in South Africa. It's truly remarkable. Anyways, I hope that we managed to provide you with a very fun afternoon today. There we go. And that you've had some... I might have lost us. I don't know if you did lose us for a while. Evidently sounded like there were some issues, but that's what it's like when you're broadcasting from a remote place like this in Africa. My name is Mark. Seb has been on camera, and Tara has been in final control. Karula's Cubs has been just nearby, and we've had a fantastic afternoon with all of you. Hope you've had a fantastic weekend. Good luck for the coming week, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye-bye, everyone.
Hi everybody, this is Time Final Control. I'm hoping you can hear me. Apologies for the breakup there towards the end with Shavenzi. I believe Pete was still working on the issue, so hopefully it'll be sorted out for tomorrow morning's drive. But thank you very much for joining us, and it was fantastic to see over 1,000 viewers. Really, it is fantastic, and keep up the great work. Obviously, it's you guys telling all your friends and family about the drives and wanting to keep them. So thank you very much for pushing it, and let's see if we can keep it going. Even if we might crash the internet, let's keep it going. But thank you very much, and hopefully some of the wild dogs might make their way this side. Keep your fingers crossed. Maybe tomorrow, who knows. But we'll definitely try and head out and find the cubs again and see what else is out and about in Djuma Game Reserve. So take care, everybody, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.